Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Oneness Project Light One-on-One with Israel Kelly. I'm your host, Cassandra. For those of you that are new, welcome, and thank you for joining us. Our purpose for each episode is to enhance your understanding of life, the universe, and the world around us by exploring a specific topic more in depth through the eyes of Source. As many of you know, Israel Kelly is one of many who is fully coalesced with Source energy and has been granted with the gift of knowing. He is here to bring messages of love to humanity and to facilitate all of us with the expansion of our consciousness. Since our last episode on hypnotherapy, many tragic events have occurred around the world, which requires us more than ever to live in the present moment of now and shine our brightest light. So tonight, for our 20th episode, Israel has decided to discuss the topic of unconditional love. Hello, Israel. Many of us listening already have our own understanding of what unconditional love is. For those who may not know, can you please explain the meaning of unconditional love? Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Cassandra. Of all the topics we can choose from, unconditional love is the one that I like the most. Unconditional love, as the word implies, is love without limitation, without conditions, without boundaries. Love without expecting anything back in return, regardless of the outcome of any situation or any change in our lives. When we love unconditionally, we love without boundaries. We love without expecting anything in return. It's the ultimate feeling that any human could experience, loving someone or something unconditionally.
That's perfect, Israel. Thank you. I hear you and many others say that we are made of unconditional love, or that I am unconditional love. Can you please tell us what that means?
That is a very good question, Cassandra. Very easy to understand who we are. We are non-physical source energy now occupying physicality in human form. Source is unconditional love. If we are an aspect of that divinity, we are unconditional love as well.
Thank you. That's a beautiful explanation of who we are. Now, if we are all unconditional love, then how come we experience so many dark emotions opposite of who and what we are?
Because in order for you and everybody else, while in a physical form, to experience, you need a contrast. Very easy to understand will be in the accents of that you are not, is not. Meaning, if you don't have small, you don't have big. If you don't have short, tall. If you don't have left or right. If you don't have up or down. Whatever opposite experience, opposite position of anything, if you don't have the contrary, how can you experience anything else? If everything is just one expression of something, how will you choose something else? How can you apply your free will? Unconditional love is exactly that. It is the balance of anything else. And that you call your dark emotions are needed as part of the contrast that make you who you are as in a human form, as human. If you don't have the contrast, how can you experience life on planet Earth? It won't be impossible for you to experience anything without a contrast.
Interesting. So we experience contrasts in our lives, such as dark emotions, to be able to experience what it's like to be fully human. Because you're saying without contrasts, we would simply be unconditional love all the time, which would not benefit us at all in any way. So we should in fact be grateful for all the contrasts in our lives, because from them we are able to have a wide array of choices and experiences to help us learn and evolve and discover what we truly desire. That is wonderful, Israel. Thank you. Now, for those who are feeling alone and unloved, how can we teach them unconditional love? how can we show them unconditional love?
For those feeling alone and unloved, we will tell them that you are never alone. There's an energy which is part of that you understand of the universe, or any other name you want to use, God, Jehovah, Allah, Nirvana. It doesn't really matter how you express and call that energy, a divine energy that is of which you are part of, which you are an aspect of, is always with you. So you're never alone. And to feel unloved, how can someone who has clear who they are feel unloved? Because when you understand who you are love itself. When you concentrate in loving yourself first, you emanate a love that will spread out and significantly and make everybody else around you feel your love. You're never alone, you're never unloved, you are unconditional love, you are loved by a power, an almighty power that's the essence of who you are. Feeling alone, feeling unloved is now part of being unconditional love. And every single human is unconditional love.
That's great, Israel. So, if you're listening to this and you're feeling alone or depressed, snap out of it because you heard Israel. You are never alone. Source is always with you. Moving on to question 5. As a mother of 3, I do recall when my kids were still toddlers thinking, how would I teach my children what love is? It was definitely easier to show them what love is through affection, by a hug or a kiss, and telling them that I love them. And somehow they just got it. But trying to explain it to them in words was not as simple. As a grandparent, how would you teach your grandchildren about what love is?
We can teach our children that they don't need nothing mysterious of themselves to be happy. No other place, not a thing. And happiness is going to be found within themselves. Teach them that they are sufficient within themselves. That failure is a fiction. And success is not one determining how happy they are in life. There's many ways that we can teach our kids to be happy, to be content with themselves. Teach them that they're not separated from what they call God, or what we call God, that energy, that almighty energy, nobody's separated from. That there's nothing that we have to do, there's nothing we have to accomplish to be part of, to be accepted by that energy, because there's no judgment. By teaching our kids those things, we are able to help them to connect with themselves. That's a way to raise a better humanity for better generations.
Thank you, Israel. Many have said that when you connect with your higher self, you feel a beautiful sense of love that wraps you up like a warm blanket. Is that what you feel every day, being coalesced with Source energy?
Being coalesced with source energy, or connecting with that inner part of ourself, that larger part of ourself, is very difficult to verbalize, very difficult to explain in words. However, those words that you use, that you feel wrapped around by this warm blanket of love, this unconditional love coming from within, is one of the ways to explain that. The feeling of being coalesced with source energy while in physical form is something that it doesn't have words, human words that can express how someone feels about it. It's something out of this world. And I invite everyone, every single human, whoever's listening to this recording, to speak with them, to connect to the inner voice, to look for that inner connection, to feel that unconditional love.
That sounds wonderful. Now, when we fall in love with someone, is what we feel for them unconditional love, or is it a different kind of love?
The love we feel when we are in love with somebody is a different type of love. It's not it's a more flesh and bones. It's a more Cardinal is more human love. Loving someone or liking somebody, dating someone is a different type of love. It's a love that we feel, is an attraction. However, it cannot be compared to that unconditional love that is coming within when we connect with that larger part of us, with our highest self, with our inner being, with that source energy of which we are a part of.
That's very interesting. I've heard many times that love is the most powerful force in the universe. Can you explain why, Israel?
Yes, indeed, indeed. Love is the most powerful force of the universe. I remember when I was a teenager, or I guess maybe I was, I don't know, 12, 11 years old. My granddad told me a little story about these two women that they went to a king, in front of a king, because they were debating, there was a child, and one of the women was saying the child was her, and the one was contradicting the child's mind. And it was this thing between the two women for a child. So they took they took the two women with the child to the king, and the king asked them what's the problem, and they all says the child's mind, the other one says the child's mind. And the king, very wise, says, "Okay, give me a sword, and I'm gonna cut the child in two." So you both can have pieces of the child. One of the women says, "Don't stop, just give it to her." And that is a proof of unconditional love. The real mother didn't think twice about giving out the child in order for the child to be alive. And that's a proof of unconditional love. So at that age, I didn't really understand this whole concept. After many years, that I have kids on my own, that I have grandkids on my own, is when I really understand this sense of human unconditional love, which is different from that source unconditional love. However, when it comes down to your family, when it comes down to people you really love, when it comes down to your flesh and blood, it's very similar to that feeling of unconditional love.
That's super. Thank you, Israel. How can we attain unconditional love for ourselves and for all living things?
How we obtain unconditional love for ourselves and everything else, every living thing, very easy. Love yourself, look at your surroundings. Feel grateful. Feel grateful for this experience. Feel grateful for your life. Understand that everything is consciousness, everything is connected, everything is one. We are all humans are one. All living thing is one. Everything has consciousness. The rock, the air, vegetation, the animal kingdom, everything has a different type of consciousness. By understanding that everything is part of us, everything is for our experience, everything is for to enhance our experience while on planet Earth, you understand how much you love, how much effort we're putting down to create all that exists for you to have this new experience as a human. And that is love right there. That is unconditional love. By loving yourself, first step, then from there you radiate this love within yourself and you love everybody else.
That's great. Thank you, Israel. For my final question, as you know, I love my children very much. I love my family. I love many of my friends. And I've learned that I am unconditional love. And I know that I am connected with source energy. And I love Mother Earth, nature, wildlife. I love a whole lot of things. But I do not love everybody I meet. In fact, sometimes people annoy me, and I'm sure I'm not loved by many others who meet me. Is this okay? Or are we supposed to overcome this and love everyone we meet?
Every single human is part of you, Cassandra. Everyone is part of you. Everyone is a reflection of yourself, having a different experience for the purpose of co-creating a reality, a new experience on planet Earth. By limiting yourself, just loving the people that you know, the people that you like, or family members, or things that resonate with you, you're caught in that experience of loving everybody unconditionally, because those you dislike, they are your expression of yourself, interacting, acting, creating different from you. They need to, everything needs to coexist to make this experience on planet Earth possible. So as everything coexists without limitations, that love that you understand of unconditional love irradiates more love towards everyone. And when you see yourself as not limited to yourself, but an extension of everybody else, expression of everybody else, part of everybody else, like everybody else is part of you, you love, 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 and love. It takes time to understand that. It takes time to remember that. It takes time to feel like that. However, when you feel like that, you really are unconditional love in a human form. To practice unconditional love, you need to change the way you see things, the way you think about your reality, and see everybody else like part of yourself. That's how you love everybody like yourself. That's how you love yourself.
Do you love everybody, Israel?
I do love everyone, Cassandra, without limitations, without conditions, without expectations, as I understood and feel that I am part of everybody else, like everyone else is part of me. Uh, People like exclusivity. People likes to feel that they are loved more than anybody else, and more than neighbors and family more, and you love them more, your wife more, and so on. Whatever the situation might be. However, when you put yourself in a position in which you are coalesced with that source energy within yourself, you understand that there's no difference in between you and your neighbor. So you love your neighbor like you love yourself. That's how I feel. I love everybody. I feel love for everybody. I always get excuses for everybody to do whatever they do, even when majority will say that will condemn and judge them. I always have a way to think that is positive about everything, because everything is for growth. Everything is for the purpose of expansion. Everything is there for a reason. There's no mistakes. The universe doesn't make mistakes. And unconditional love is there to love everyone, no matter what. No matter what's the circumstances, no matter what is their personality, no matter what is the outcome. It's love without conditions.
Before we say goodbye, do you have any final thoughts you would like to share with us?
Thank you for having me, Cassandra. Final thoughts will be we are one. It's very important to understand, very important to feel like that. We are one. We are source energy. Love is the accent of resistance. Love is vibrational alignment with that which is source. Source has only appreciation for our experience or for what we're going through or what we represent as humans. That is unconditional love. That's what we're part of. That's who we are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It has been a privilege to answer these questions. See you next time.
Thank you, Israel. What a beautiful reminder for all of us that we are unconditional love, that we are all connected, and we are one with everything. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. Thank you for joining me today and enlightening us all on the topic of unconditional love. Until next time, this is Cassandra for Oneness Project Light One-on-One with Israel Kelly. Thanks for listening.